Hey guys, it's Tika and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how I put together these Maleficent themed cakesicles. We are going to start all the way at the beginning with a delicious chocolate cupcake recipe from scratch, and then I'm going to take you step by step on how I put these guys together. So let's get started. So I'm beginning with the cupcake recipe first, and I'm going to start off with some espresso powder and some cocoa powder. And to this, I'm just going to add a little bit of milk chocolate. And please don't worry, I left all the ingredients listed below. To this, I'm going to add some boiling hot water, and you want to make sure that your water is hot so it melts down that chocolate. And using a fork, I'm just going to blend all this up and make sure everything is nice and creamy, and then set this off to the side. I'm going to go ahead and grab this all-purpose flour, and to this, I'm going to add some salt and baking soda. And I'm also going to add some light brown sugar and some regular sugar. And then using a whisk, I'm just going to whisk all this together until it is completely smooth and a fine powder. We don't want any lumps in here, okay? Then we're going to head back over to this chocolate mixture, and to this we are going to add a little bit of sour cream. And we're going to whisk. Then we're going to add in some vegetable oil, and again, whisking that up. We're going to add in some vanilla extract and a couple of teaspoons of apple cider vinegar. And whisk again. Then 1 and 2 eggs. And we're going to whisk this again until it is a nice creamy liquid. Then in a large bowl, we're just going to pour all of our dry ingredients right in. And then using a whisk, we're going to gradually add in our chocolate mixture and just whisk it right into our dry ingredients. You want to make sure that you're mixing this in well and that you do not leave any lumps or clumps. This recipe is very forgiving, so whisk away. Now we can add these into our liners. So I am using a cookie scoop today because my ice cream scoop is no longer with us. Using a cookie scoop, I have about 3 scoops per liner, and this recipe will yield you about 15 cupcakes. You want to bake these up at 350 for about 15 to 17 minutes. This batter is very watery and very bubbly, but I promise you, when these cupcakes are done, they are absolutely perfect. They are so moist and flavorful, and look how springy. Oh, I love. Now we're just going to let these cool off, and once they've cooled off for a few minutes, we're going to pop a couple of these into a bowl with some regular smegular store-bought icing, just a couple of tablespoons, and we're going to just work this in until we get a nice kind of doughy-like consistency, not too dry, not too wet. And now I'm just going to go ahead and start working on my decorations. So for today, I chose to do a couple of gold mirrors, a few Maleficent silhouettes, a few fondant flowers, and my own homemade sprinkle mix. For Maleficent, I am pulling out my favorite projector. You guys know I love my projector, and with some edible paint, I'm just painting on her silhouette to a strip of fondant. If you have an edible printer, this is where that comes in handy. For my roses, I am just using some colorful fondant, and I'm adding it to some rose-shaped molds. I also did the same thing for my mirrors. I just used a different mold, and all that will be linked below. And once I've gotten these all filled, I'm just going to pop that fondant right out. And there we go. And speaking of mirrors, for these, I actually just used my favorite luster dust with a little bit of Everclear, and I'm just giving these a nice gold sheen. Now that all my decorations are done, I'm going to let these dry, and I'm going to start working on my chocolate. In order to achieve this really plum purple color, I am mixing a little bit of navy blue in with some pink. And the way that I got this green color was just a little bit of teal mixed with some yellow. This chocolate was very clumpy and just So today I am using my Easy Thins, and I'm adding a few of these into my mix. And guys, this stuff worked like almost instantly. Like, look how creamy this chocolate became. Like, oh, it's amazing. So now I'm just going to go ahead and start adding these into my molds. Now, if you've seen me do this once, you've seen me do this a million times. I'm just going to work this through until all of my molds are filled. And then using a popsicle stick, I'm just going to grab some of this chocolate that has pulled down into the bottom of the mold, and I'm going to work it up the sides. You want your sides on these Cakesicles to be thick, okay? Thick. Otherwise, they're going to crack and they're going to break and you're going to be sad. We don't want that. Then you want to go ahead and let these harden. You can either pop them in the freezer or let them sit at room temperature. I left some space down here at the bottom so I could easily slide in my sticks without cracking my chocolate cases. So now I'm just going to go ahead and place those sticks inside. And then I'm going to add in about 3 scoops of this cake mix. I'm going to go ahead and slide my stick on up in here, and then using another popsicle stick, I'm just going to make sure I have space down here at the bottom. And then I'm just going to fill that space with chocolate. And I'm going to finish up the rest of these real quick. And then I'm going to finish just sealing up the back. I'm going to scrape off any extra chocolate, make sure everything is nice and smooth and pretty, and that's going in the freezer for just a few minutes. And once everything is nice and set, you want to carefully remove your Cakesicles from the mold. And then it's time to decorate. So I'm starting off with my accent Cakesicles using my homemade sprinkle mix, some jewel dust, and of course my fondant flowers. I'm going to begin by brushing on a little bit of jewel dust, and then using some chocolate as glue, I'm going to add 3 small dots to my Cakesicle. And then I'm going to attach my roses. Using some more chocolate as glue, I am going to fill in the spaces in between my roses. And I'm just going to add on my sprinkles. And then using a brush, I'm going to kind of smooth everything out and get rid of what I don't want and just make sure everything looks nice. And now it's time to move on to Maleficent. So I'm starting by gluing her silhouette onto the Cakesicle with a little chocolate and her little mirror frame as well. And then using a little bit more chocolate, I'm going to go ahead and attach on all of the purple roses. And that is it, guys. As a finishing touch, I decided to add on this really pretty black ribbon. But I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. I hope that you try it out for yourselves, and I'll catch you in the next one.